Triple Crown here, second part of my Dallas Card Show in Northern Kentucky vlog. This one will be slightly different than my normal format. I'm going to basically splice together the rest of the weekend into one video here. If you missed part one, I sold through a lot of cards, and while I still have plenty to sell, I am really in restock mode at this point, and that is a lot of what you will see in the video. I am relying heavily on people coming up to my table to make deals, and that is pretty much what I spend the rest of Friday doing, is seeing what people bring to me to possibly sell, not only for the next 2 days of this show, but keeping in mind Xenia the following weekend, and then looking over the horizon, knowing that I have Shipshewana and the Midwest Monster, two pretty large shows coming up here in this cycle. And it's been a really busy last few weeks preparing for this point, and now it's going to be even busier preparing for those. But let's get into it. First up here is a guy who I've dealt with a few times. He has a lot of nice wrestling stuff, and that is what I'm going to take a look at here. He's got this low numbered rock card. He's got a AJ Styles 101. He also has a Stone Cold autograph. That's really my game with the wrestling stuff. I don't go too deep into it like I would baseball or football, but I like the low numbered stuff, and I like the legends, so to speak, more so than any of the current guys. Basically the names that would be more recognizable to someone who's more casual or may casually collect the cards. Let's see what he wants for these and figure out if I can take any of them back with me. What about Styles?
I'm gonna be nice on this one. So I bought this on Whatnot.
Okay.
And I purely slabbed it, so I would be at $100. I got a really good deal on that on Whatnot.
Is there a reason you got it just as authentic?
Yes, if you flip it over.
Oh. You'll hear my "oh" there. You might wonder what that's for, and that's because of this little issue that you'll see on screen here with the card. On the back it has this crease. Unfortunately, something that happens with some of these die-cut cards, usually straight out of the pack, there might be an issue just because they are a bit more sensitive, not being a full-size card, and during the manufacturing process it may lead to some manufacturing defects with them. But one of the reasons that I point this out is because it is in that PSA Authentic slab, and really most of the PSA Authentic slabs that I run into are on a lot of cards that are PSA DNA certified, where people will just get authentic grades on the cards and then an auto grade of a 10. And usually they will try to upsell it more for the auto grade being a 10 and for it being encapsulated. But I see often that people assume that the card is also a 10, and that is not the case. There is an auto grade, and then there is also a card grade. An authentic only means that the card is what it says it is on the flip. It does not actually have a numerical grade assigned to it. Just something to keep in mind if you're out there and you're looking at cards and you see something that has an auto grade as well as that authentic grade. The auto grade does not reflect the grade in the condition of the card. Just wanted to put that out there.
What are you finding for like other 10s in general, or is it kind of like everywhere?
I was looking at this one just to make sure to see. The rock one is
everywhere.
I mean, yeah, you tell. I think I'm just gonna stick with this one at 100.
Okay.
You don't have any interest in this?
If it was autograph, I would scoop that up for me, but I'm pretty hard on autographs. So.
I understand. Did not have an AJ Styles 101 on my buying bingo card, but I'll gladly take it. Now let's see if we can try to find some football to replenish that part of the showcase. Alright, next up we're actually going to have a little bit of a trade going down here. He's got some nice JSNs coming up, and he's interested in my Freddie Freeman downtown, as well as an Ellie De La Cruz autograph that I had picked up not too long before he had walked up to the table. And hopefully we'll get a little swap done here, but I'm excited to kind of walk through a trade. I don't usually show too many of these in the vlogs.
Would you do more from if they're trade than just buy cash?
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on like what you pick out and stuff. Like if you pick something that I've had for a while, you know,
right,
want to work with you as much as possible.
I would say the three I like the most is the Freddie, the Ellie out of 99, and then the J-Rod
okay.
Refractor.
No. I promise. He's getting on my case because I bought a wrestling card earlier.
I love the Bobby Witt though.
Oh, thank you. That one just got it.
got in today.
That's a little inside joke there. My friend Justin, who I normally set up with, likes to get on my case as well as Mike Cards Across America whenever we buy a wrestling card, because he likes to refer to them as fictional characters, and I showed him I had bought one, and he decided that he was going to give me grief for it. So that's what that's all about.
But I also hate him because I'm a Tigers fan.
Oh,
so
really?
he's he's an enemy. What do you have on?
Jason's.
Yeah.
Let me get you a price.
I'm not as much of a Bowman guy, so I'm good on these. I'm good on Traylon, but these four, mostly these three. This one is, if it was the right price, then I would. But how are you doing, sir?
Man, what's going on?
Not too much.
So, what would you be on, kind of trade-wise for those?
You want all three of them or individually?
Like, I guess all three, because you said, I know you said cash for the Freddie, 85, but I would be like, this comp's around 80, and then this is like 110.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you would do like 85 for the Freddie, 100 for the Ellie, and then 80 for the J-Rod, that's 265.
I would prefer to hold on to that one at that price.
Okay.
These two, I think I paid 100 for it, so I'd like to be at 110 there. I'm fine. I would knock this down to 80 for you. That's fine with me.
Okay.
So it'd be like 190 there.
190.
And then it just kind of depends on what you have on these two.
Okay. How much do you have the flat at?
I'd say around 150 if I had to guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I told this guy earlier on in the conversation, it's really going to depend on what I have into it. That Freeman was part of the deal that I had made last weekend, and I felt pretty good about where I was at that deal, where now I could move into something else. And really, I need the football more than I need the baseball right now. I know JSN will move extremely well, and I'm willing to bargain a little bit more to give up the Freeman downtown in order to secure those two JSN cards.
All right. Thank you, guys. You have a good rest of your show.
Thank you, you too.
All right.
So, you said you're at like 110 here and 80 here, so
Yeah.
190?
Yep.
Okay. I would be close to like 170 on the Vlad. I mean, that's honestly kind of right where I paid at it, 170.
Understandable.
I mean, I can go down a little bit for the trade.
Okay. What about these two?
I would probably be at 145. Where are you at? I would do, what would you do on the Vlad? Would you like meet me at 160 on the Vlad?
I don't like it that much. I would be willing to do like 2 for 2, figure out like how much cash we need to add with that, since I think you want to be a little more on that and I want to be a little more on this. So let's just save space, just talk about these two here.
What would you be? I mean, it's like 145.
So you said 145, I said 190.
Yeah.
40 cash.
40 cash.
Yeah.
Okay, I should be able to do that. Let me see that. Bought some new jerseys. Yeah, I can do that.
Sweet. You got a deal.
Yep.
You need a picture of it?
Yeah,
I take tips, but
I valued those two GSNs right around 150, and $40 cash seemed like a pretty fair swap. Again, I needed the football more than I needed the baseball, and it seems like he was pretty happy with the trade too. There was some good back and forth on both sides. Both sides compromised, and ideally that's what you want out of a trade. Hopefully he feels as good about it as I did. Alright, switching gears to Saturday. I did not record for Saturday because, quite frankly, Saturday was not very good. And there was multiple reasons for that. The first one was that there was more of an autograph crowd there than there was a card crowd. There was the Ellie De La Cruz signing, the Jamar Chase signing, and then a very nice list of other people as well. A lot of the people coming in through the doors were interested in autographs, and I think I've said this before on past videos, but I'll reiterate it here. Autograph people aren't necessarily card people. That may be a head scratcher, but trust me, not everybody who comes to get autographs and meet these players and take the photo ops and all that are necessarily into the sports cards themselves. They might be into memorabilia and the like, but maybe not necessarily into cards. Now, you may get some people who are casually into it who might walk up and purchase a few things, but there wasn't really too much of that going on. And then there was an issue with traffic because the Flying Pig Marathon was going on in downtown Cincinnati. And that made getting into the convention center on Saturday morning a challenge, to say the least. And then on top of that, there were 3 different card shows going on in the greater Cincinnati area. There was the Eastgate Mall show taking place, and then there was the Westchester J&J show that you've seen a couple of my recent vlogs at. All 3 of these shows happening on the same day really split the vendors and split a lot of the traffic, and because of that, I don't think anybody really had a great day at any of these shows. There was also a lot going on in Indiana. I think there was like 7 different card shows in Indiana. A lot of dealers and that being kind of spread maybe a little too thin on this one weekend, which is unfortunate, but what are you going to do about it? So I did not do too much on Saturday. I was really banking on a lot of people coming up trying to sell stuff, and that just wasn't the case. I really had to rely to walking around, and I tried and tried and tried, but it was definitely easier said than done. The one really notable deal I made was this one. It was a fairly large deal for my standards. It was at $12.50 for this stack of 4, and it's headlined by the card that's been scrolling on the screen for the past couple of minutes, this Jamar Chase camo out of 25 autograph from Prism. This dealer had this card. He was actually on the table across from me in the aisleway there, and I went over to go look at it. I tried to build a stack with him. We probably worked on this deal for about 20 minutes or so and went back and forth, kind of discussed what he wanted to get out of each of these cards, and we ended up shaking hands. This was the main one I was after, but I want to show you a couple of the other ones that I got with it here. The first one is going to be this Jamar Silver Circles as well. It's numbered to 125. It will be a cheaper numbered Jamar slab, something that will do very well in my area. And then you also have this Jamar autograph from his rookie year, 2021 Contenders Optic. This one is also low numbered, and again, this kind of Jamar Chase stuff, it's not $500 plus where it's a major decision for a lot of people to buy a card like that. These are a bit more within reach, especially for a lot of the shows that I do that are not necessarily regional shows, but they are larger local shows. That's where the majority of my setups happen at. And then kind of to sweeten and finish out the deal is this LeBron first pitch card. I really do love this card. It's actually my first time I've ever owned one, and I've actually already sold this card. So getting a little bit back on the deal already. Time will tell to see how I do. I don't imagine this one will be a home run. It's really going to depend on what I can get out of the Chase camo, but it's one that I don't necessarily expect to sell quickly. That's really all I have to say about Friday. Let's go ahead and turn the page once more to Sunday, May 5th.
These ones I average out to more like 75, 80. Be a buyer on it at like probably 60 on that one. This one I'll take a look at here.
Yeah, let me know what you find next. I can't find it.
Alright, first clip from Sunday is me trying to buy some stuff that comes up to the table. This guy tells me that he actually got the Jefferson RPA that you see there in a repack. That is something I don't hear too often. I hear I got this in a break or in a box I opened. But you would think with how popular repacks are that more and more people would be coming up and saying that, hey, I got this in a repack and I want to sell it. Hasn't been the case as much as you might think. But back to the Jefferson card, it looks like it is one that has been recently fulfilled by Panini, and I could not find any sales for any of the redemption cards. Now it is numbered to 25, and it is about, I would guess, 3 years old at this point. I think Contenders Optic came out in the spring of 21 that year. But to me, it's odd that I can't even find a sale of the redemption itself. And because of that, it makes it a little bit more difficult to determine a price. How do you determine the price if you can't find a comp? A lot of it is going to come down to seeing if I can find similar players in the set, or looking at some of Justin Jefferson's autographs that I think might be similar to that one. But a lot of it is ultimately going to come down to trusting your gut. And I've sold enough Justin Jefferson, easy for me to say, autographs over time at this point where I kind of have an idea of what they go for and what I can expect to get out of this card. And in my head, what I'm going to do is envision, okay, what do I need to buy this for? What am I going to put it out at? And what am I going to get talked down to on it? And those things don't always necessarily come to me in that order, But those are the 3 prongs that I really need to make clear to myself when I'm buying a card like this. We don't make a deal in this clip here, but this guy does come back to the table a little bit later on, and he takes my offer that I gave him earlier in the show, and then I actually ended up selling the Jefferson card to Justin later that day. So it didn't last long, but figured I'd include this clip just to talk about what I do when I can't find any sales data on a specific card.
Should be able to get to 7 on the love?
Can do that.
Okay. No problem.
I am helping Justin out here. I offered to take his stuff in since he had some work stuff to handle and try to get him a few extra bucks to close out the weekend. But ultimately, I want my cases to look like this one day. I've definitely tried to push myself more in the last 6 months, and I feel like I've grown, but this kind of stuff just doesn't happen overnight. One thing I thought was interesting, though, I want to point out is a lot more guys started coming up to the table when I was there who didn't try to negotiate with Justin. I don't know if they thought I'd be softer on the prices or what, but it was definitely interesting to see the difference there.
I don't know Henry. I don't know his phone number. I can't get a hold of Henry, so Henry's not available.
I did it on Safari.
I have this one too. That's a 10. I think that's probably the cheapest 10 that I have. Most of the other low-end ones are 9. So yeah, if he wants a 10,
That's a 10.
it's number 2. It's the rated rookie from Optic out of 125.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
It's
what
a
about
solid
that
card.
card?
That's $1,000.
Yeah.
This is 200. See the difference?
That one is
Paul?
also a 10, but it's a nice one.
What the?
Yeah, I got cut.
How did that happen? I want that card.
Thanks. What about this one, Rush? It's a 9. Which is a rookie and a swatch.
Where? Daddy.
What?
My advice would be to pick a card you really like over the grade.
Yeah.
If you find a card that you really like, regardless of the grade, that's the one you should go with.
90 plus 1 is Daddy.
I have to give big kudos to Dad here. He's got 4 kids with him, and they're kind of running all around the show floor here. He's trying to keep them contained while what I presume to be one of his sons is looking for a nice Jamar Chase card to add to his collection here in the showcases. We ended up talking for quite a bit, and I pointed out and pulled out some of the Jamar cards in the case, I should say, and really walking them through the process of buying a card. You know, they were wanting to put a significant amount into this Chase card, and I wanted to make sure that they were happy with what they got. You know, he's a younger collector. This is definitely an experience that is going to stick with him, and I didn't want to just sell him a 10 for the sake of having a 10. That's why I made that comment there. I wanted them to get a nice quality card, and ultimately what they walk away with is the Jamar Chase Contenders autograph that I have here. I don't have a photo of it to show you, but it's a playoff ticket auto number to 49. It's PSA 8 with a 10 auto, so he did get a 10 in one sense, but as I mentioned earlier, a 10 auto is not the same as a 10 grade. But I'm glad that he was happy with it. He really did like the card, and I think Dad was happy with it too, hopefully. So that was it for the Cincinnati, Dallas, Northern Kentucky, all mashed into one card show over the weekend. I have Xenia next weekend, and then the bigger ones looming on the horizon will be Shipshawana and the Midwest Monster. Very much so looking forward to those. But this was an incredibly successful weekend. This part maybe a little anticlimactic with how good the sales were on day 1 for Friday in the part 1 vlog. Go check that out if you missed it, but hopefully you still found this part 2 informative, educational, maybe even a little bit fun along the way. All right, I'll see you next time. Take care, stay safe, be kind.